Welcome back to the Fat Boy Fantasy Football Podcast. It is I, the Fat Boy, here with my good friend Xavier. What up?
Hello, hello.
How you doing, Mr. Late Birthday Boy?
I'm doing good. It was a good birthday. It was a good
How's it feel to be
weekend.
18?
I'm finally legal. You can finally what do 18-year-olds do? Leave the house.
Go to
You can
school
run
still?
away. You can run
Run
away.
away from me, baby. Run away. Well, we're a quarter of the way through the season now. How are your fantasy teams looking?
Um uh well, I don't have any undefeated,
I got a
but
handful of undefeated teams, just saying.
but uh they're mostly positive. Yeah.
It's always good
Most
to hear.
they're mostly positive. One is even, and then one I haven't had a win in. But I didn't draft that team. We're not even gonna talk about
I'm just saying, my tanking team won a game this week.
that.
So I wanted to win one game in that league. I pulled it off early, almost had another win week two. So that's apparently a team I shouldn't have been tanking with, but we're here now. I got 15 first round draft picks. I'll be fine. But in the meantime, we'll go review our a start, sit, stud, and bust candidates of last week. For myself, I had told people to start CJ Stroud versus Pittsburgh. Ended up with a solid 28 points. To be able to sit Aaron Jones against Detroit, I was pretty spot on there as well. He only ended up with 2.9. My stud of the week was Jamar Chase. He kind of played to expectations, I guess you could say, with a 14-point game. And then I said that the Miami backfield was going to bust. I was half right. Mostert only ended up with 5.5, but Achan ended up with 28. How did your picks look last week, sir?
Let's see. My stud was Christian McCaffrey, so that absolutely hit.
Smashed.
Um, sit Darren Waller hit. Bust Dallas Goddard hit. And then I said if he plays Christian Watson, I guess it hit because he had a touchdown. Um,
I mean, he was on a snap count, so he really didn't get too much playing time. But
I mean, yeah, okay, I see that as a hit then. So if he was on a snap count and he still managed to get uh two receptions, 25 yards and a touchdown, that's 10 and a half points. I guess you're not mad at that.
right, I mean, it's you're kind of wanting to see it out since that was his first came back. And with the
Yeah.
touchdown, he tried to drop it, I swear. But
I saw that.
but in the meantime, we'll kind of do a quicker review of week four. What was your biggest takeaway from this past week?
My biggest takeaway. Um, let's see. I'm looking at all the games. The Bills are them. I really thought it was gonna be like a. I really thought it was gonna be like a bigger shootout, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
I thought it was gonna be a closer game. And also CJ Stroud is him. He's looking like even in redraft, he's looking like if you have like a Jalen Hurts or if you have like a really good quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and you have CJ Stroud, I think if CJ Stroud puts up another game like that for another week, then you can think about if you want to be ballsy and go all in, or if you have a losing record, you can think about, okay, I'm going to sell my number one quarterback on my team. I'm just going to stream CJ Stroud on there. If he's on the waivers, you pick him up and you're like, F it. I'm selling Patrick Mahomes for this, that. Um, let's see.
Well, I would
Uh,
say even with CJ Stroud, he's someone that could still be on waivers in a lot of leagues.
yeah, he
Um,
was on waivers in some of my leagues.
only 42% of people are started, or only 37% started him last week because they don't listen in. If they would listen in, they would have known to start him. But he's getting to that QB1 conversation
Yeah,
to where if you drafted him in a dynasty league, he's probably going to be a starting quarterback for you here shortly. If you're in a super flex, he already is a starting quarterback most likely.
yep.
And every time we see a rookie play, oh look, they're doing this, that, and the other things. We've been kind of spoiled this year, especially with CJ Stroud as well as Puka, who came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
But CJ Stroud now has the second most passing yards of the first 4 games to start a career. And he's also one of the first quarterbacks to average 300 yards a game, as well as throw 0 picks in their first 4 games to start their career, too.
yeah.
So, pretty elite numbers to say the least. Of course, we would love to see more touchdowns, but that's going to come with time. And correction, he only scored 21 points if he had 4 point touchdowns, or 25 if you have 6 point touchdowns. So still a smash for my numbers. For me personally, it looks like the Rams made a really good choice in trading away Cam Akers, given they traded him away for pocket change and a piece of lint. Uh, the Buccaneers might be a sleeper team to make some noise in the postseason just due to their defense, because they are balling out, and Baker Mayfield is playing like he is a game manager. And that's all you really need whenever you have a defense that is as stable as the Buccaneers defense. Are my two biggest takeaways. And the Eagles are still looking pretty weak. They did squeak out the victory in order to remain undefeated, but a lot of people were talking about that it's not going to be an easy road, especially since they do have that first place division or first place in their division schedule. And the Eagles might not be able to repeat as NFC champions. What's your opinion on the Eagles so far?
Um, I think fantasy football wise, it's great. And then if you're a fan, you're kind of scared. Um, they're after the Jets in 2 weeks. They're gonna have the Dolphins. Then they're gonna have. I saw their schedule. It was a pretty hard schedule. But after that, they have the Commanders again. And later, the Cowboys. That should be a hard one.
Well, they're
And
gonna
then
have the
they'll
Cowboys twice. Next in
yeah.
the next 4 weeks, they have Rams, Jets, Dolphins, and Commanders again. So we'll see if Cooper Cup plays, how that dynamic will potentially look this week. They said if he doesn't play next week, he'll for sure play, or if he doesn't play this coming up week, he'll for sure play the week after next, I guess you could say, against the Jets, week 6. But the back end of that Eagles secondary is looking relatively weak without Gardner Johnson back there. Kazir White also left, if I'm not mistaken. It's they're filling in a lot of holes, to say the least, on defense.
Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule. Week 11 Chiefs, week 12 Bills, week 13 49ers. That's gonna be tough later in the year. Week 14 Cowboys. So they sh they need to worry about being healthy.
And then my last question about this, I guess, even just for the rest of the season, if you're the Bengals, what are you doing at this point? Like, you
I
just
would
paid your quarterback a large contract, and this past week you lose 27-3 to the Titans, and it's looking really rough. You're starting out 1-3. Joe Burrow hasn't been fully healthy all year. I mean, what's the deal? What should, if you were the GM, what would you do?
I'm saying Joe Burrow, you're going on IR, and we're gonna throw in the backup quarterback, and T. Higgins is out he's probably out for at least 2 games. I know it was like a
Well,
rib
he's saying he's
fracture or
probably going to
something.
play, but
Might try to
if any,
play with a
with
broken rib.
say with
Uh,
wide receivers, they go put on that flak jacket that a lot of quarterbacks wear, and he should be fine on that regard. But
I mean, that's a broken rib.
they don't feel great getting hit, but
I mean,
I
I don't
think
know.
he'll be fine.
I would try to sit Joe Burrow if your franchise quarterback is going out there injured and he's not playing at 100%. And in turn, you're risking you
Long-term
just signed
damage.
you just signed a big contract. Like, it's all right. You know, we can, if you come back in a few weeks and they can still inch in the playoffs and there's still a chance. I mean,
I mean, it's
it's
still
not like,
early in the season, but time
yeah,
is ticking whenever you have a 1-3 record.
but the thing is, you should have started on IR, dummy. That's the
Hmm.
thing. Then you would still probably be 1-3. You know, you could have squeaked out a win and still be 1-3 rather than still playing injured. And if he was on IR, he'd probably be feeling better. He'd probably, when he comes back, he'd be fully healthy. But now it's not too far later, but now it's a little later
Yeah, he's
and
yet to
probably gonna
throw for
regret it.
over 300 yards this year. He only had 2 touchdowns against Baltimore. The rest of them, he has thrown up a good old donut in the touchdown column. And passing number wise, he's shooting at about 58%, if I had to guess. Just doing some quick maths in my head. So he's not the efficient Joe Burrow we are used to seeing.
Yeah.
But we will go ahead and start out with our picks of the week for the start, sit, stud, and bust. So who do you starting this week?
So my start of the week is going to be Garrett Wilson. No particular reason. It's only the
It's out of spite
Broncos.
to me. You don't gotta lie to me.
It's only the Broncos, but Garrett Wilson, everyone was scared to start him the other day against the Chiefs. I was too, but ended up looking not too bad. The Chiefs were playing like poop. I guess Patrick Mahomes was the only one playing like poop. But at the same time, you saw Zach Wilson go out there and actually sling that thing pretty decently. So
He looked like an NFL quarterback. It's
I was
wild.
like, who is that guy? But I guess he's finally starting to learn the offense. He's finally starting to get some game sense within him. If that continues and that carries on into the Broncos game, I see I see Garrett Wilson going for 15 PPR. I mean, that'd be pretty good. He had what did he have? A good few receptions. I think he had like 7 or 8. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, he had 9 receptions. Jeez. 9 receptions for 60 yards. Um, I
He
mean,
also had 14 targets too.
it's all about the volume, especially if you're just doing fantasy football.
If you're
If
doing
he just
PPR, it's great.
Oh yeah. If you're getting that, then you're happy to start Garrett Wilson. If he's just getting the targets, if he's just getting the receptions, you're just happy to start him, and that'll be my start.
It was just like this week with Alvin Kamara. Uh, he didn't
Yeah.
get much of any yards, but he did get 13 receptions.
Yeah, he had the most receptions. He had more
Thir-
receptions than their whole wide receivers and everyone else.
yeah, he had 13 receptions for 33 yards.
Yep.
PPR, that's great. Standard, you're a little upset. But with that being said, my start this week is going to be Logan Thomas against Chicago. Whenever you're streaming the tight end position, unless you have the Travis Kelce's, the Hawkinsons, the Mark Andrews, you're just looking for the guy that's going to fall into the end zone. I think this guy that falls into the end zone this week that could be on waivers. If I had to guess a line, probably about 4 for 30 with a touchdown. If you could get 13 points out of the tight end of how scarce and how much of a desert it is within the past few years, that's just all you're really looking for at this point.
Yeah.
Just to go into my sit this week is actually going to be Damian Pierce against Atlanta. That Atlanta defense, or run defense at least, has looked pretty studly to say the least, with all their investment they spent on their defensive side of the ball. Bringing in Jesse Bates, who's a good run stuffing safety from time to time. Uh, their D tackles are great. Calais Campbell was a great addition to be able to hold down the middle for him. They held Travis Etienne last week to 20 carries for 55 yards. I just don't see the game script favoring Damian Pierce at this point to go crazy. Like I'd see him getting maybe 6 to 8 points this week
Yeah.
and just kind of falling in right there. But how about you? Who's your sit of the week?
Well, to piggyback off that a little bit, I really thought Damian Pierce was going to come into this year uh doing what he did last year, continuing what he did last year, but I guess not. And I really didn't see, like, people were saying Devin Singletary was going to come in there and get all this work. I mean, I was like, no, I don't really see Devin Singletary doing all of anything. I mean, he's really not. but
He's a
I mean,
change of pace back that did really well in Buffalo just to be able to
yeah,
get a couple of receptions here and there. That's all he's really doing now.
yeah,
This
but
past week, Devin Singletary threw for a touchdown. That's the only way he got into the end zone.
yeah,
But only 7 carries and then 1 reception for 11 yards, while Damian Pierce had 24 carries and 1 reception for 27 yards, as well as a 60% snap share this week for Damian Pierce.
yeah. And then at the same time last year, Texans were more of a run team. Now that you're seeing CJ Stroud come out of his shell a little bit, they're going to be in my opinion at least, they're more of a passing team now that you see Nico Collins and Tank Dell getting all that work. I mean, but I
Nico's
drafted
looking
Dave.
like a beast right now.
Yeah, oh yeah. I really hope Damian Pierce edges out a little more and does some more, but I do agree with that sit. My sit is going to be the Vikings backfield. Obviously, probably, but not just that. I mean, they're going against the Chiefs. They have,
Chiefs.
oh yeah, there's no way. There's just no way. There's nothing more to say on that, to be honest.
After Chris Jones came back, the Chiefs have been a sneakily pretty good defense.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I, like they've been given they haven't had, the greatest the quarterbacks going up against them so far this year, but they have still been able to shut down teams pretty effectively, or at least be able to limit what you can do. So far, they have played Detroit, which of course they lost without Chris Jones. They played Jacksonville, had a pretty solid game against them. Chicago, woo, Justin Fields, and then the Jets. Um, this game might be one of their bigger uh, competitions in the passing game, at least, but I don't see the run game getting started either.
yeah. I mean, and the Vikings have the battle of mid with Alexander Madison and Cam Akers
You
over
do
there.
not slander Cam Akers' name like that. That is
So,
my man.
I mean, is Alexander Madison trying now? I mean, he had 17 carries for 95 yards. It's not terrible, but uh, yeah, still the battle of mid.
Said it's also not great either. Yeah, I'm even given they were playing the Panthers this week, and they're looking like they are a top pick candidate, even though they traded away their first round pick next year already. So Chicago's looking really good on that end of the deal. But
Yeah.
who's your stud this week, sir?
My stud this week is gonna be Devon A Chain.
Oh,
Um,
you're hopping on the A train.
yeah, or A-Chan, sorry.
Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, they're gonna be going against the Giants. I expect them to be up early and then chew the clock out with some runs. That's pretty much it.
So with this Miami backfield, do you worry about if you have one of them, do you ever worry about the other one potentially having the week that you want from, like, say you have Mostert and A Chain goes off this week? Do you worry that the next week is going to be flipped? Or do you
Yeah,
think that the backfield is A Chain's to lose?
I think you are worried until you see more work come through for A-Chan because they are I guess they are talking about A-Chan's gonna get more work, but you're gonna be scared until you see it, you know.
Right.
A-Chan had 8 carries, Raheem Mostert had 7. I mean, they're not really carrying that much, but as long as you get A-Chan the ball, he's so fast. He always has the chance, and he has the breakaway, and he has the broken tackle ability, or the ability to break tackles. He always has the chance to break away for a big run. So as
Well, it's
long as
also
he's
with
getting
A
the
Chan
ball,
too. Like whenever he was at A&M last year, he averaged like 23, 24 carries a game.
yeah,
So even being a smaller back, he was still playing like a workhorse back that's
yeah,
weighing in at 5'11", 230.
yeah,
Given he's at a 5'8", like 190 frame, just burning people down the sideline. But yeah, I could definitely see A-Chan having a good game. I don't see Roaster having a good game. They could both have a
yeah,
good game. They could be another
yep.
40, 50-point game for both of them. Who knows?
Lightning and thunder.
It's more like lightning and more lightning at this point.
Yeah.
Mostert's not exactly a power back himself. But with that being said, my stud this week is going to be Anthony Richardson against Tennessee. I don't see them, Tennessee at least, stopping anything in the secondary. feel like this is going to be a day where Michael Pittman just gets peppered with targets since he wasn't able to get much started this past week against the Rams. And I could see Richardson falling in the end zone once or twice on a little run, whether it be from 5 yards, 50 yards out. He's a threat everywhere on the field. But that's my person that I am putting my stamp of approval on this week. Then my bust of the week. Sorry, Cowboys fans. I believe that CD Lamb is going to have a big letdown game. They're playing the Niners. I just think the Niners are in a game playing him out and try to make Dak Prescott either beat him with Tony Pollard, which I don't even see Tony Pollard really getting much started against this defense because that front seven is nasty. And I just think they'll make Dak beat him with Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup or whoever else they have at wide receiver. I just don't
Jake
see.
Ferguson.
I mean, he 7 for 7 for 77 yards, the angel numbers. But I just don't see CD Lamb being the person that, if the Cowboys win this week, it's not going to be in CD Lamb's hands. I could see him having a 5-6 point game this week.
Do you think it's gonna be a low scoring game?
Fairly low scoring. I wouldn't say it's going to be less than 30, but I would probably put the total, if I had to do it over under 37. So like 21-14, 21-17 kind of game. But
Yeah.
that is if, as long as Dak doesn't throw 8 million picks, he'll be relatively even, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But who's your bust this week?
My bust is gonna be James Conner. He's been looking good. Like better than I thought. I don't know if he's been looking better than you thought. Did you think he was gonna do pretty good?
I mean, I knew he was going to be a workhorse, and he was definitely a target that I had in zero RB strategies that I was doing. Um, but with volume, especially with people like James Conner who do tend to get injured easily, I
Yeah.
could see an injury potentially coming. But James Conner is that volume back that people do like, and he is RB 16 on the season right now, averaging about 13.5 points.
Um, Bengals I think they have a really good run defense. They've been doing really good against the run. Um, that's just my thing right there. It seems like even though the Bengals have been doing bad, I don't see them losing this game. If Joe Burrow plays, I think he's going to play, unfortunately. Um, but I see the Cardinals playing from behind, and they're just going to try to throw it. I see Marquise Brown having a bigger game, or Michael Wilson even. Michael Wilson, by the way, looked good the other day.
That's one of the players from my tanking team that definitely balled out for me this week. So
Yeah,
kudos on me for picking him up off the waivers.
your tanking team.
The tanking team that's scoring 200 points a week. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense how I'm scoring this much. I just feel like Ricky Bobby. I wake up and I piss excellence. That's all there can say about it. I'm just a winning machine. That's all there is. Best there ever is, best there ever was, best there ever is going to be.
I have a question for you, actually.
What's up?
Did you see the Giants game and the Seahawks Giants game
I
last
saw
night?
part of it. I was at the gym for about
So,
half of it.
uh, Daniel Jones had no time to throw at all.
Mhm.
Do you think it's him holding on to the ball too long, or do you think it's the offensive line?
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's well, especially whenever you don't have someone like Saquon that you can just kind of dump it off to.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of these defenses are keying in, running a contained defense to where they can keep Daniel Jones in the pocket. It's like, we're not going to let you use our legs or let you use your legs. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us in the air. And so far, he has proven that that investment that the Giants have paid him is not worth it so far. Uh, Last year may have been a fluke just because defenses didn't know how Brian Dable was going to use Daniel Jones yet. But so far, it's not looking too good for Vanilla Vic himself.
Yeah. 4 years, 160, 160 mil.
Yeah.
Yikes. It's looking pretty bad. They're gonna need Saquon. They should have given Saquon the money.
People don't want to pay running backs.
Should have given Saquon more.
I mean, he just wanted a little bit more than the franchise tag, and that's what he got. So we'll see what happens next year in free to see if he is able to hit it. But to wrap up this episode, we'll kind of do a little quick review over next week's games. For the Thursday night game, Amazon keeps getting screwed over with these Thursday night games. This week we have Bears and Commanders.
Oh my God.
Um, anything interesting you want to say about this game?
Um,
I think Brian Robinson has a decent game this week.
I hope Jahan Dotson has another touchdown. Um, I hope Justin Fields does good. I traded him away in one of my dynasty leagues just because just have the if you have Justin Fields, have the dynasty discipline to send him away. I said I was gonna die with the ship, but
Then you jump ship. How dare you?
then I jump ship, but I still have him in one of my other dynasty leagues.
That doesn't matter. You're still selling your shares. You're not dying with the ship at all.
I only had 2 shares. But have the dynasty discipline to sell Justin Fields after that that little peak he had against the crap Broncos.
You do not talk about my Broncos like that.
Uh, I hope Justin Fields does good for his sake, and I hope the coaching staff gets fired.
Well, I mean, this year with Justin Fields, how they were talking almost reminds me of Jalen Hurts 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Whenever they were talking about benching him at the end of the year, even though he was playing as a fantasy QB1, just because he
yeah.
had so many rushing yards. But them talking about already trying to bench Justin Fields early makes me want to jump ship a little bit, just due to the fact that he might not even have a job at the end of the year. And
Yeah.
plus, he's coming
And
up at the end of his rookie contract too.
and it is weird because you're still gonna see him even though he's doing bad, you're still gonna see him as a low end QB1 just because of the rushing upside every week.
Right.
So it's kind of
Like
it's
if you
kind of
have
hard to
him,
gauge.
you almost can't start him.
Yeah.
You don't want to start him. You don't feel comfortable starting him, but you almost have to start him.
That's another thing. If you have Justin Fields, I would not like
It
if you
is
have
the
Justin
golden
Fields,
handcuffs, basically.
yeah, if you have if you have Justin Fields and you
If you
have
have golden
CJ
handcuffs,
Stroud,
you need to hit
if
me
you have
up.
CJ Stroud on the wire, you pick up CJ Stroud, and I would just go ahead and start CJ Stroud.
So who would you rather start in this scenario? Justin Fields or Danny Dimes?
Justin Fields. If if you want even a little bit of okay, maybe he'll do good, I'll just do Justin Fields because of the rushing upside. And if you saw Daniel Jones play last night, he just he looked like a deer in the headlights, and
Hmm.
the coach was like getting mad at him on the sideline. Coach was like throwing the tablet right beside him. Like it didn't look good. It didn't look good.
Yeah, they are a team in turmoil for sure. Yeah, we don't have anything nice to say about the Bears Commanders game, so we won't say anything at all. Um, we have a London game next week, Jaguars and Bills. Uh, I don't see the Jaguars being able to put up a fight for some reason. Like this year, they've just came out flat. Maybe this win against Atlanta last week kind of jump starts them, as they were able to shut down Bijan fairly relatively, besides him breaking somebody's ankles. But they did limit Bijan to. Actually, never mind. He had 7 yards to carry. What am I talking about? But yeah, I don't see Jacksonville getting it done this week.
No,
And
they haven't been getting it done nearly as good as they were last year. It's kind of
right,
weird, but I mean, you're still hoping Calvin Ridley gets his, and if you have Christian Kirk, sell him high. If you have Justin Fields, you sell him for Trevor Lawrence, like I did. Um, you buy low on Trevor Lawrence. I still think Trevor Lawrence is going to finish as easily a top 10 quarterback this year, so
yeah, I see him
I'm
finishing
not
at least
worried.
as a. I wouldn't say you say top three.
10.
Oh, top 10. Yeah, I see him in the top 8 personally. Bills, I think that defense is going to limit what the Jaguars can do.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if Josh Allen has another 80 million touchdown performance. But this will determine if the Bills are actually them or not, in my opinion. So I could see this
Yeah.
being a potential playoff matchup. So
Yeah. If it's an upset, it'd be a good one.
and then Texans, Falcons. two surprisingly good defenses this year. I didn't have the Texans or the Falcons pegged as a great defense, but they're both playing, seems like above their weight class almost. Or maybe this is just Texans and Falcons football. Because I mean, with D'Amico Ryans being the head coach of the Texans, he did come from the Niners.
Yeah.
Will Anderson's doing great as a top 3 pick. But do you have any special takeaways about this game?
Um, battle of high tier mid? I don't
High
know.
tier mid. I mean, these are both teams that could be a sneaky playoff entrant too,
Yeah, yeah,
which is kind of the wild part. Because I thought the Texans were idiots for trading away their first round pick next year. So I was like, well, that's 2 top 5 picks for the Cardinals next year. But even the Cardinals have won a game before the Panthers and the
yeah.
Bears. So, which is still the craziest part. Um, we'll see if Bijan still keeps taking more and more carries away from Tyler Algier. Ever since that first week of Algier, he's kind of done a whole lot of nada.
Yep.
And he's scored less than 5 points for the past 3 weeks. So, with that being said, Panthers and Lions, this should be a steamroll by the Lions with how the Panthers have been looking recently. Uh, don't expect St. Brown to get much in the second half. So whatever he gets in the first half, be grateful for. And let's see Monty get another 3 touchdown game and Jameer Gibbs get 8 carries again. So, you have anything else to say about that game?
Um, I guess you're a little scared for Bryce Young, but you're gonna have to let him develop and adapt to being in the NFL. I sold David Montgomery high. If some people want to bite on that, let them. His usage is a little scary to me, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, I think they're using him a little too much compared to, I mean, and they spent a first round pick on Jameer Gibbs, and they're
A top
just,
15 pick.
and they were, did you see how happy they were
They
in
were
that locker room?
pounding the table in excitement for
Pounding the
Jameer
table
Gibbs.
and like primal yells. Just, I mean, like primal yells, just for David Montgomery to have 32 carries and Jameer Gibbs to have 8. It's just a little, and I know he's like the power back, but it is a little bit
Power back don't need
scary.
to be used in between the 20s.
Yeah, it's a little scary of a usage to me. I think he's gonna get injured. He got injured what last week or 2 weeks ago, his thigh or something.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're gonna overuse him, I'm scared. I'm out. Um, so yeah. Um, that's all I
I'm just
have.
waiting for the Jameer Gibbs breakout game for him to be on my bench and me to be upset, but also excited that he finally had a good game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's how you do it though. You're gonna have to wait till you see it, and then the next week, okay, you earned your carries, you earned your start. So
I need his Devon A chain game or A Chan game. Need him to drop 60 on somebody's head.
no, then you're gonna be mad you didn't start him.
But hey, he broke out now, so I can use him now.
Yeah.
If not, I'm trading him high. But next up, Titans Colts. We'll see if Derrick Henry can still get more than 50% of the snap share because he is still being limited for some reason. Uh, he's at 48, 71, 38, 59% of the snap shares respectively over the past 4 games. It just seems like if it's a negative game script, Derrick Henry is out. If it's a positive game script, he's in. And if he's out, of course, Tyjae Spears gets a lot of the snap percentage himself.
Yeah,
But
me personally, I'm selling Derrick Henry high, um, right now, like this week, because I don't see him, and it is a little bit of a dip in play from last year to this year, and he's getting older, and he is a bigger guy, and he might be built different, and all this other stuff, but I just want to get out. If you can trade away Derrick Henry in a piece and go get another running back that you feel comfortable with that's a little younger, I would do
and
it.
try to get Bijan. Derrick Henry and a wide receiver for Bijan or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Especially if a team's starting out 1-3 and they want to, have some more depth, go for it.
yep.
I mean, I traded away Mostert, Olave, and Tutu Atwell for Christian McCaffrey and Drake London, selling high off the Mostert game. So
That's That's what selling high is. That's the definition of sell high.
Just find someone that's a buffoon, sell
Yes.
them on a 30-point game, and move on with your life.
Yep.
Do you think we see Jonathan Taylor this year? Because he's now able to be removed off the pup list, but he is saying he
Um,
still doesn't want to play for the Colts.
if he wants to get paid, he'll play. For the Colts, he could, he could like be in for a few plays and then say he's injured. You know, he'll still get, I think he gets paid still, right?
Well, I
Is
think he's
that
getting paid regardless since he's on the pup list and not as a holdout, I guess you can say.
yeah, but I don't know. That's still up in the air. I'm happy if he does. I'm happy if he doesn't. To be honest, I'm a little more happy if he doesn't because I have Zach Moss. So I have no
Well, I
Jonathan
need
Taylor.
JT to play because I have some teams that are desperate and they have JT and Cooper Cup. So
Now let's rephrase that. Does he play this year at all for any team? I think so. You know,
well, they
whether
have
it's a
what,
trade.
5 or 6 weeks till the trade deadline?
Yeah, I think he plays. Maybe not for the Colts, but I think he plays.
I
You
mean,
can't just
time
you
will
can't just
tell.
waste you can't waste a prime year on a running back.
Yeah. I mean, Mostert did just fine. He wasted like 4 prime years.
Yeah.
Up next, Giants Dolphins. If Saquon plays, start him. If you don't play, then the Giants are in trouble.
Yeah,
Long
very
story, boring.
much. Yep.
Um, if you had to pick Mostert or Achan, who are you starting this week?
Um, I'm going HN. I don't even. I'm just give me the young guy who's fast, who's really fast. Sorry.
I mean, they're both really fast. And then, does Waddle have a bounce back game this week?
Um, it's hard to see. It's hard to tell. I mean, because they could
He
just
is
get up.
someone that's definitely has been playing up to expectation. At least it could just be Tyreek Hill stealing the show and all that. But
Yeah.
this year, he's had at least a 65% snap share in the 3 games he's played, but only has 16 targets.
Yeah.
And that's over 3 games because he did miss week 3 with a concussion.
He needs to pull a AJ Brown and take Tua Tagovailoa on the sideline and be like, "Hey, where's my
Where's my
where,
cut?
yeah, where are my receptions?"
Yeah, it's definitely a hard situation with the Dolphins. Next up, we got Patriots and Saints. Who does Kamara get another 80 million receptions this week?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And then I don't see Derek Carr or Mac Jones having a decent game, so I'm not starting
No,
either of those quarterbacks.
I don't like Derek Carr. Ruined my freaking year last year.
You sound like you have some ill intentions with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I like him as a person. You know, he's probably a good guy, but not football.
He just looks like a oh god, Jesus, sorry.
Yeah, those
He just
allergies are
looks like
kicking.
a Sid from Toy Story. But outside of Kamara and Ramondre Stevenson, I guess Olave too.
Yeah,
Those are the
it's
three
just
people that
really
I like
hard.
the most.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell with Olave too. I hope he has a good rest of his year after coming off of that game he had the other day with just one reception for what was that, like 4 yards?
We'll also do think Tampa Bay game plan for Olave rather than Michael
Yeah.
Thomas.
So it was a little weird.
Jesus.
You want me to move on to the next game? All
Oh, sorry, my bad. I've been muting the wrong way the entire time. This allergies are destroying me. But
right.
Ravens Steelers. Who you got?
Uh, I've got the Ravens, and it that's really kind of a hard one because the Steelers defense has been so good. I mean, except going against the Raiders for some reason, but the defense has been stealing games away from other teams.
Hmm.
So as long as, and is Kenny Pickett playing? They said he might or
He's
something.
questionable right now.
So I mean, if Kenny Pickett plays and he plays all right, I I actually see them kind of putting up like a good fight.
Hmm.
Um, and Marlon Humphrey is questionable. I mean, Rashad Bateman questionable like always.
Nothing new there.
Nothing new. But Pat Freiermuth out for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So I don't know. Do you throw, is George Pickens now a must start?
I don't like anyone on an offense, to be honest with you, outside of Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Because even Najee's starting to scare me at this point. So he only
Oh,
had
yeah.
49% of the snap share last week. Jimmy, he did have 14 carries, and Jalen Warren had 8, but they both had 49% of the snap share. So it's a 50-50 split, and I think it keeps slowly tilting towards Jalen Warren more and more every week.
Yeah.
And the Ravens defense has been a great defense so far, so we cannot underestimate them. You're talking about a battle of mid earlier. I got another battle of mid for you right now. Bengals Cardinals.
Yeah.
Um, if Joe Burrow plays, does he bounce back? And if he does bounce back, which wide receiver would you want to start?
If he does bounce back, I'm only starting Jamar Chase. T
Obviously.
Higgins. T Higgins, I mean, he wants to play, but I don't want to play T Higgins because it seems like when I play him, he's always injured.
Oh
Or it
yeah, it's
seems,
just
and
this year
last
has been a
year,
lot of injuries, it seems.
oh yeah, and I remember last year they're like, oh, T Higgins is gonna play, T Higgins is gonna play. He goes out there for one singular play against the Ravens, and he doesn't play the rest of the game. And I started him. So I mean, he could play, and then he catches the ball and he takes a hit, and he's like, Coach, I'm done. That
He said,
rib,
I'm a basketball player now. I ain't a football player
he's
this week.
like, that rib hit, I just got hit, and it didn't even hit me in the ribs, and I'm done. So I'm not starting T Higgins, even if I mean I'm just not. I'm just not starting T Higgins. You're only starting Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, maybe Tyler Boyd, but it's still hard to tell.
You're not
Tyler
starting
Boyd
Joe
is
Burrow?
iffy. I was about to say Tyler Boyd is iffy if Joe Burrow doesn't play like he usually or like his healthy
He has
self.
been.
So I'm still not even. Yeah, I'm not starting Tyler Boyd either.
Then on the other side, if you're in a super flex league, are you starting Joshua Dobbs? A question I never thought I'd be asking.
It
But
depends. I think it depends on who your other quarterback is. Like if tell me like a quarterback.
okay, so let's go to the sleeper projections this week, and I'll tell you the quarterbacks around his tier right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let me get it pulled up here.
Like Ryan Tannehill or Josh Dobbs.
Well,
I'm
Ryan
going.
Tannehill is like QB 45 on the week
Yeah,
every week.
I'm going
So
Josh
Josh
Dobbs.
Dobbs or Russ against the Jets?
Oh, I'll go Russ.
Josh Dobbs or Derek Carr against the Patriots?
Oh, I'm going Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs or Kenny Pickett against the Ravens?
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs or Zach Wilson against Denver?
Oh, I'm gonna go Zach Wilson on that one. I'm gonna ride the little. We're gonna hope Russell Wilson's mom is at the game and he's just looking up at her at the stands.
I'm dead. Joshua Dobbs or Ryan Tannehill?
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs or Mac Jones against the Saints?
Um, I'm gonna go Mac Jones.
Interesting.
That's an
And then
interesting one. Yeah.
last but not least, Josh Dobbs or Daniel Jones? Daniel
Who's
Jones
Daniel
is playing
Jones?
Miami.
Miami. Oh, ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna go Josh Dobbs.
Yeah,
Now,
it's
now you
He's an
see
interesting play at this point now.
it is, and now you think you can sell him. I mean, I would probably try to sell him high if you're in a dynasty situation.
Ha
Yeah.
ha ha.
Dude, if you get a second out of it, that's a dub. You can get a second out of that.
Well, I don't want to sell either of my quarterbacks. I would still like to have two starting quarterbacks. That's just me. So I either have Josh Dobbs or Kenny Pickett, and they're both bad this year, or one's bad and one's playing above expectation at this point.
I mean, if Kyler Murray comes back, you're not seeing Josh Dobbs ever again. I mean, he could be actually he could go to another team and blah blah blah, but I would just much rather get a second or third, at least a third out of it, you know?
The alopecia poppy going crazy.
What? That's wild.
Next game up, we have Eagles and Rams.
Eagles
Beginning
and
of the year,
Rams.
this I would have told you that the Eagles were going to run away with this game. Now the Rams seem to have a pretty steady offense, surprisingly enough. And we could potentially see Cooper Cup back this week. More signs have been pointing to a guaranteed week 6 return for what I've been seeing so far. But with that being said, uh, do you see the Philly backfield doing anything this week?
The Philly backfield. Um, it's kind of hard to tell. Because Aaron Donald is leading that line, and
Mhm.
then you have DeAndre Swift and Gainwell back there. I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised both ways. You know, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do nothing, and then I wouldn't be surprised if if DeAndre Swift
They
goes out
slash and
there.
gas.
Yeah, it's kind of 50-50 for me.
Does Puka have another wide receiver 1 week this week?
Yeah, probably so. Maybe his last one.
So you can. I mean, I'm holding on to Puka. I'm dying with that shit for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Or if someone sends you a crazy offer, yes.
Well, of course, everybody has a price. It's just if you're
Yeah.
willing to pay the price is the thing.
And
But
you know what's wild? I saw something like, would you rather have Jackson Smith and Jigba? It named off like Jordan Addison or and it was like man, it was someone else. And then it was like or Puka Nakua. And a lot of people put Puka Nakua, and it's crazy because Jordan Addison, uh, JSN, better talents. But it just goes to show that situations matter almost more. I would say probably more than
well,
talent.
I wouldn't even say situations. I mean, I don't even think Puka really had a great chance to prove himself. Uh, given he tested relatively average athletically, quote unquote, for the NFL. But game speed and combine speed are two different kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just think Puka didn't really have a chance to prove himself going to a school like BYU.
Yeah,
Another mid-off game that we have, Jets Broncos.
that's not
Uh,
mid. You're lying to yourself.
that's very mid. Don't
They're
don't don't you start.
they're below mid.
Hey, 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 be nice. Does any of the Broncos wide receivers put up decent numbers this week?
um, I expect if Aaron Rodgers needs to be there for all the games now. Okay, Aaron Rodgers needs to be there for every Jets
I'm not
game.
asking about the Jets wide receivers. I'm talking about the Broncos wide receivers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading something. Broncos
You're not
wide
even listening to
receivers.
me. I mean, they're getting called out by Philip Lindsay on the sidelines. Just saying.
Yeah. I didn't watch the Broncos Bears game all that much.
I was
Um,
crying until the fourth quarter. I'll just let you know that.
I don't know how they pulled off that win.
Just we're happy it happened. They don't ask how, they ask how many. How many we win by? We won by 3. That's all that matters. The grace of God was on our side this past Sunday.
Are you starting any Broncos wide
Broncos,
receivers if you have any?
yes.
Who are you starting?
Well, I was asking you the question, but since you're asking me the question now, if I had to start one, probably Jerry Judy. but even then, he still has at least 5 targets every week, so he's getting some of the volume. Cortland Sutton has gotten 5, 7, 11, and 5, and with that 11 target game, was actually against Miami. So I don't know if we even count that game because they were just having to throw since they were down by, 50. But if I had to start one, probably or actually I'd probably start Sutton. He seemed to be the more favorable target at this point.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, but at the same time, I would say I'm not starting any Broncos wide receivers. Are you
Let's say this
picking
is
up?
more of a fill in on buys. Like if you have Amari Cooper on
Yeah,
your team, you're probably starting
yeah.
Sutton.
Are you picking up Jaleel McLaughlin off waiver wire?
Until we figure out what's up with this running back room, so all of a sudden Javonte Williams is looking not the best. Samaje is kind of just as expected. Um, I'm definitely stashing them for sure and just kind of seeing what happens if I have the bench
Yeah,
space for it.
yeah. Is Javonte, is he still suffered a hip flexor injury? Isn't expected to miss much time. Might be out for a week.
Say I'm stashing him just in case
Yeah, for sure.
because he
He
looked
did.
pretty
Yeah,
explosive.
yeah. He looked pretty good. I saw a few plays of him playing. So
But then Jets wise, you already talked about Garrett Wilson. Um, Brees Hall, hopefully he starts doing something besides getting like 10 touches a game. He's too talented to not be explosive. And
yeah,
it just needs to start happening here sooner rather than later if they want to have a chance to win more games. But whenever you're having 8-man boxes the entire time, it's kind of hard to do anything.
yeah.
KC versus Minnesota. This is potentially a high scoring game if the Vikings cannot turn over the ball 8 times. And on the other side, Patrick Mahomes could also throw for 500 yards this week because
Yeah, he
that
needs to have
defense
that bounce
in
back game.
Minnesota is looking god awful.
Yeah, it's
But
not looking good at all.
are you starting any Chiefs wide receivers at this point?
Never.
Because
Never.
it's looking rough. I don't know who Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball to, but he's throwing it to somebody, and it ain't a Chiefs wide receiver. I can tell you that.
Yeah. We thought it
Because
was gonna be
Kadarius Tony
Rashee
had two
Rice.
targets. Sky Moore had 2 targets. Rashee Rice had 5 targets, so he might be the wide receiver to have at this point. And then, of course, Travis Kelce does the whole Travis Kelce thing and has 9 targets. So,
Is Isaiah Pacheco a must start now?
no,
No, you don't think so still?
I still think he is a mid to back end RB2. He just had some fortunate game scripts the past couple weeks.
He runs he runs hard. I was watching
That's
that
what's
dude.
going to get him hurt, in my opinion.
Yeah, he runs like Forrest Gump.
He runs like Bobby Boucher trying to get someone that said that water sucked. It's he runs like he's a beat, like just someone stole his last cookie and he's gonna get his cookie back. That's what he runs like.
Yeah, he's gonna tear a hammy or something.
Yeah, he's gonna bust his knee up. Sunday night game, your beloved Cowboys against the Niners. Hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully it's not one-sided either way.
Yeah,
Is Christian McCaffrey a much start?
yeah, for
No,
sure. You
he's not.
have to. You have to. If you
No,
have
what are you talking about? You don't
if you
have to.
have Christian McCaffrey, you have to start him.
But yes, that's
It,
that's a
it
very
doesn't matter.
obvious question. But do you see Ayuk having a bounce back game? Oh, he had a pretty good game last week actually.
Well, I
6 for
see
148.
me per obvious. I mean, no, I don't know
Which
if
San
obvious, but
Francisco wide receiver would you start this week?
I'm
If you
starting
had
Brandon
space for
Ayuk.
one, Ayuk or Debo?
I do Ayuk
Fair enough.
because I think Stephon Gilmore is gonna be on. Wait, no, I don't care. I'm doing Ayuk.
That's it. Ayuk's the one.
Yeah.
Is Jake Ferguson a must start if you have a tight end position in your league?
Um, I think this week I think he has a good case for it this week.
Let's say if you're streaming the position, I would probably just start Jake Ferguson until further notice at this point, personally.
Yeah, yeah,
She's had 3 games of 7 targets already.
yeah.
So, and then does Tony Pollard fall into the end zone this week?
That's hard to tell. Um,
If you're doing an anytime touchdown bet, are you betting the yes or the
oh,
no?
that's hard. Uh, I'm gonna go with, it's like a coin flip. I'm gonna go with yeah.
And
I
then
was
last
gonna,
question for that game. How many touchdowns does McCaffrey score this week? He's on a 13-game streak of at least scoring 1 touchdown.
I think he scores 1 touchdown,
Just it, just one.
just one. I think he'll have a touchdown and he'll run for like 60 yards.
Only 60?
Yeah, he'll run for like 60, 70, maybe 80.
I see him going
And
for 108 on 23 carries and
he'll
then
have a
4
lot of,
receptions for 32
yeah,
yards and a touchdown.
I say like 5 receptions.
I think total for the fantasy points this week is about 27.
Yeah,
Is
just
my guess.
a quarterback.
Just a normal Christian McCaffrey game at this point.
Yeah,
And then last game of the week, Green Bay and Las Vegas. Um, as of now, Jimmy Garoppolo is questionable, so it could be the Aiden O'Connell show.
woo.
If Jimmy Garoppolo plays, I know you already hate Josh Jacobs, so you're saying that he's gonna bust this week. But if Aiden O'Connell plays, I believe that Josh Jacobs is, of course, a must start because you drafted him in the second round, so you're probably starting him regardless.
Yeah.
But he's even a more of a must start since he did have uh 11 targets this past week.
Jeez, man.
So Aiden O'Connell did like dumping it off to him. And people say he's not a receiving back. I beg to differ.
Did you see Aiden
I,
O'Connell play?
he looked like Officer Doofy. I could tell you that. I didn't watch much of the Raiders game, unfortunately. No,
He
they see the little stash.
he actually doesn't look too bad throwing the ball. He can sling it.
I mean, him and Derek or him and Jimmy G are probably just the same quarterback in 2 different bodies at this point. But Green Bay wise, are we starting Watson, Dobbs, and Aaron Jones if you have them?
Um,
Or if
I'm
you're
not
not
starting.
starting one of them, who
I'm
would you
not
not
starting
start?
Aaron Jones. I'm not starting Aaron Jones. I'm starting Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs. I think Romeo Dobbs might be the one.
I think he
I
might be the
think
one, A.
I think he is the main target, and then I think Christian Watson is just the
The deep
field
threat.
stretch. Yeah,
I mean, this year, these past 2 weeks, Romeo Dobbs has had 12 and 13 targets.
yeah.
So he's been getting peppered with these things. 3 touchdowns on the year. Last 2 weeks, he had 73 and 95 yards respectfully, or perspective. I don't know. Anyways, well, I can't think of that word. Of course, we're starting Devontae Adams. We're starting Jacoby Myers.
Uh, I think so.
And then last but not least, is AJ Dillon droppable?
Yeah, at this point.
Because like even
Yep.
whenever Aaron Jones was out, he could not get it done. I
At this
also
point,
think that AJ Dillon is not him.
not at all. He is droppable now.
But that's it for the games. Do you have any other last words?
Um, sell Christian Kirk, sell Justin Fields, sell Derrick Henry. In your super deep leagues, sell Josh Dobbs, sell,
Are we selling Romeo Dubs?
ooh, I
Or are
don't
we
know.
holding on to
I
Dubs?
think we keep him. I think we keep that one. He
I
has
was
so many, I
upset.
mean, 13 targets?
12 and 13.
Come on,
Back to
I'm
back
keeping.
weeks.
I think I'm gonna keep him. I would like him on my team,
I
actually.
did try to trade Romeo Dobbs for Devon Achan before the season started.
Ooh, if you would have offered me Romeo Dobbs for, before the season, I don't know, but I would have thought about that really hard.
Yeah, because I sent it to one of our friends and even offered a third on top of it. and they
Oh,
never
really?
responded to me, so I withdrew the trade. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. Until next time, this has been the Fat Boy Fantasy Football Podcast. Appreciate y'all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and all everything else that the YouTube people say. And hope y'all have a great day.